Alright, so I wanted to create a video to go through a couple of the review problems from Concept 2. The way Concept 2's review problem set is set up is that each row of your input-output table is a problem number. So I know it's formatting-wise looks a little different than maybe what you would expect, but if we look at problem numbers 1 through 5, numbers 1 through 5 is really looking at this input-output table here, where we're using input or x values of 3, 5, 6, 9, and 11. And it wants us to use the function rule of y equals 3x plus 2. So that's what I'm going to go through next. Numbers 1 through 5, filling out this input-output table using the rule 3x plus 2. So first things first is I'm going to plug in 3. I'm going to kind of just draw a line to separate my work a little bit. So plugging in 3, I'm going to have 3 times 3 and then plus 2. That would give me 9 plus 2, which is 11. Now I'm going to plug in 5. So 3 times 5 plus 2. That would be 15 plus 2, which is 17. Now I'm going to plug in 6. So 3 times 6 plus 2. That would be 18 plus 2, which is 20. Now plugging in 9. 3 times 9 plus 2. 3 times 9 is 27. Adding 2 to that is 29. And the last one, 3 times 11 plus 2. So that would be 33 plus 2, which is 35. So problems 1 through 5 are just filling out these 5 y values in the input-output table. And that's how problems 6 through 10 and 11 through 15 work as well. I now want to go through a problem from down here because it's set up a little bit different than maybe our notes and example problems were set up, but know that it's wanting you to do the exact same thing. So if we look at, say, problem number 17. All right, oops, here we go. I made my screen too zoomed in. There we go. So problem number 17. It says, evaluate the function f of x equals 2x plus 7 when the domain is -3, -1, 1, and 3. So we haven't talked a lot about this yet this year, but f of x is the same thing as y. So I know it's looking a little bit different, but know that that's the same thing as saying y equals, which then makes it exactly the same like the problems we did above. If you're a little bit confused about this f of x thing, know that we will be talking about it a lot more in depth later, so don't be super concerned by it. And if it's helpful, whenever you see this f parentheses x, if you just want to scribble it out and fill in y instead, that's perfectly fine. Okay, we have a whole lesson dedicated to f of x and all of what it means and that notation and the way that's written in a couple weeks when we talk about function notation. So for right now, whenever you see this, if you want to just cross it out and replace it with y instead, that's perfectly fine. So when it's giving us this domain though, what that's referring to is our x values. It's saying use the x values of -3, -1, 1, and +3 for this rule of 2x plus 7. So I'm going to take each of these values and I'm going to plug them in. So I'm first going to plug in -3. So 2 times -3 plus 7. So that would be -6 plus 7, which is a +1. Then I'm going to take -1. So 2 times -1 plus 7, which is -2 plus 7, which is 5. Continuing this trend, I'm going to plug 1 in for x, so 2 times 1 plus 7. That would be 2 plus 7, which is 9. And last, plugging in 3, 2 times 3 plus 7, which is 6 plus 7, which is 11. All right? So these are 2 review problems that I'm going through. If you have questions on any other of the review problems from Concept 2, please feel free to shoot me an email or post a comment on our Google Classroom thread, and I'll be sure to create a video or to go through it in the Zoom meeting. Thank you.